What does it mean to be a world-class listener, and why is it important? Our education has taught us how to read, write, and speak. But who is ever educated in listening? Being a good listener isn't just a nice character trait, but it's an essential part of our personal and professional lives. The truth is, many of us are so caught up in the business of our own worlds that building and using our listening skills often falls secondary to building and using our talking skills. The more we're talking, the less we're understanding, and the less we're understanding, the lower our chances are of engaging in meaningful ways. Biology has given us a hint on the importance of listening. As Mark Twain famously said, if we were meant to talk more than listen, we should have two mouths and one ear. To become a world-class listener, you need to build your capacity on two axes. First, there are stages of listening. This is a linear process that begins with hearing the sounds and ends with a response. We'll get into this in a minute. The second axis has to do with what Stephen Covey, author of The 7 Habits of Highly Successful People, calls the levels of listening. These levels refer to the quality of listening. The more we can seek to understand rather than being understood, the better suited we'll be to connect with others in meaningful ways and ultimately have the ability to generate win-win outcomes. Covey's 5 levels of listening are ignore, pretend, selective, attentive, and empathic. Ignoring, simply put, is not listening at all and not trying to hide it. Pretending is the facade of listening, but there is little to no retention. Selective listening is tuning in and out, hearing what wants to be heard and disregarding the rest. Attentive listening is engaged. The words, ideas, and concepts are being taken in. However, the listener is getting ready to relate to the speaker through their own experience. And lastly, empathic listening. This is the only form of listening that is not listener-centric. Here, the person listening is entirely present with the person talking. They are doing what Covey calls listening with the heart. Only once the speaker finishes talking does the listener consider a response based on the entirety of what's been shared. Next, we'll look at the stages of listening. This is the actual process of listening. Each step builds on the former, and all steps are key to the listening process. The first stage is receiving. This has to do with our ability to actually hear the sounds coming from the speaker. This can be difficult at a loud sporting event or at a bar, for example. The second stage is understanding. Just because we hear the person doesn't necessarily mean we understand. They could be speaking in a foreign language, or they may mean the downtown location of a restaurant rather than the uptown location. Many things come in the way to prevent our understanding from the speaker. The third stage is remembering. This is essentially our ability to recall the details of what's been said. This can be difficult if what's being said is highly complex, nonlinear, or if we're distracted. The fourth stage is evaluating. It's here where we judge the value of the message. If we were listening with Covey's first 3 levels of listening, we may not even have enough information to evaluate appropriately. If we're actively listening, we've probably been looking for our own examples in our lives that relate to what we're hearing. If we're using empathic listening, we're truly letting go of what's been shared and really sinking in before entering the 5th stage, which is responding. This is the stage where we indicate our involvement. The caliber of listening during the 5 stages, along with the level of attention which we were present, will determine the quality of our listening presence. The good news is that with practice, awareness, and dedication, we can become world-class listeners. This course will offer you the techniques, theories, and resources you need to become a great listener, deepen your relationships, and get more out of your personal and professional lives.